All right.
We're ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. My name is Rob Cagnetta, and this is a meeting of the South Kingstown of Rhode Island Zoning Board of Review. Members present tonight are William Rosen, Arlene Hicks, Jeff Elia, Brian DuPont, and William McDonald. Also present are Peter Swerves of the South Kingstown Legal Counsel, Jamie Gorman, South Kingstown Building and Zoning Official, and Jessica Spence, the Administrative Support Associate. The board is made up of 8 of us, with 5 regular voting members. A minimum of 4 members must be present to vote. In the event that a regular member is absent or recused, an alternate will step in, and we have that tonight, 2 actually. No more than 5 members. No more than 5 members are entitled to vote, and at least 3 voting members are needed to grant the requested relief. Tonight, the voting members will be Elia, Rosen, myself, Hicks, and DuPont. Right? Okay. The applicants are here either for a dimensional variance or a use variance or a special use permit. The board is a quasi-judicial body created by the South Kingstown Ordinance pursuant to state statutes. We don't follow strict rules of evidence, and we operate in what we believe to be in a fair and equitable manner. We try to let everyone speak unless you get carried away or deemed it's not relevant. So in the interest of time, please try to be brief and on point. We do our best not to argue, and we keep things civil. So we try to start our last petition before 10 o'clock, which shouldn't be a problem tonight. After we introduce your petition, please step up to the microphone. And you're going to turn the microphone on and off as you speak. It's that red button with the little person right underneath it. Clearly state and spell your name for the record. You will then be asked to take an oath to tell the truth. After that, you can present your petition with any witnesses to testify in support of your application. The board will then ask you or your witnesses questions. After the petitioner has presented their testimony, anyone with questions in support of or opposition to the petition can step up to the microphone. You will identify yourself, be sworn in, and present your testimony with follow-up questions from the board. Please do not direct any questions or comments to the petitioner or any other witnesses. The board will do that to the petitioner or the witnesses after the comment period. And then after we hear all the testimony, board members will discuss the application and the evidence presented. Board members will ask a lot of questions, and there's a good reason. We cannot just grant anything we like. There are rules to follow per the South Kingstown Ordinance. So you must give testimony to support certain facts to follow the request that you want to be approved. So tonight we have dimensional variances and special use permits on the agenda. So if you have a dimensional variance that you're looking for, you must present that your hardship is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land or structure, and it is not due to the general characteristics of the surrounding area. That your hardship is not the result of any prior action on your part. That the granting of the variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area, and that your hardship by the denial of the variance will amount to more than a mere inconvenience. That means the relief sought is minimal for the responsible enjoyment of the permitted use of the property for what it's devoted for. So a special use permit, you must present evidence that the request is specifically authorized by the zoning ordinance. So somewhere in our ordinance it has to say that you're allowed to do it on that property. And that the request meets all of the criteria in the zoning ordinance that authorizes such special use, and that the request will not alter the general characteristic of the surrounding area, nor will it impair the purpose or intent of the zoning ordinance. And if any of that is confusing, we'll certainly walk you guys through it and help you. Tonight, we do have one petition, the last petition for Commodore Matter LLC, that is looking for a continuation, right? Is there someone here for that? No? Okay. They sent a letter, an email, rather. Would you? Thank you.
Right. Email received 6/12/2024 from Sean Hevner. Hi, Jessica. Can we continue this request until the July meeting? Thank you. July 17th.
Continue the matter of Commodore Manor LLC to July 17th, 2024.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hicks. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Cagnetta? Aye. Hicks?
Aye.
Elia?
Aye.
Rosen?
Aye.
Dupont? Aye. Motion passes. So. Turn on my mic now. The applicant is seeking to construct a 190 square foot covered deck and 150 square foot addition to the existing seasonal cottage. Lot size is 50.2 acres. Special use permit is required per the zoning ordinance, section 203. Special use permit for addition, enlargement, and expansion or intensification. Section 608, a coastal community overlay district, and section 907 are standards of relief. The owner of the cottage, 10E2, is Elizabeth Burchell for a property owned by Matunic Beach Properties, Inc., located at 240 Cards Pond Road, South Kingstown, Assessors Map 92-1, Lot 9-268, and is zoned R200. And for this, we have this first one. Application signed and dated January 27th, 2024. Owner authorization form signed and notarized May 3rd, 2024. Matunic Beach Properties authorization letter dated March 12th of this year. Proposed elevation, current site map and proposed site map, 200-foot abutters list and radius map, legal notices, and notarized affidavit of mailing. Good evening.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Could you please state and spell your name for us?
Yes, Elizabeth Burchell, Birchell.
Okay. Why don't you tell us what you want to do? Just in general.
Repeat that.
Walk us
Okay.
through, like, is it,
Yep.
it's, we're familiar with the property. You've got multiple buildings on one site. So any change to the footprint is a special use permit.
Yep.
So just tell us about what kind of generally you're looking to do on the cottage.
Yep. So looking to put an addition on the side. I guess that would be the right side. So not impinging on either of the neighbors' land or houses. And then also looking to make the deck a tiny bit bigger. And we currently have a roof over half of the deck, so I'm asking to be able to put the roof over the entirety of the deck.
Okay. So, Mr. Gorman, the roof over the entirety of the deck, is that an issue on your part?
As long as it remains a deck.
Okay.
And so what I would ask is if there's not framed walls, like knee walls, there would have to be like a baluster if there's a guard installed.
Okay. Can they put a screen?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
just don't put any glass in there, basically?
Okay, sure.
Well, not basically, but
Period.
period. Or windows. I mean, they can, I don't know how in the weeds you want me to get.
So for it to be considered a deck, we're not going to want windows. Screens would be allowed.
Okay.
And even knee walls are ripe for future enclosure.
So open railing kind of is preferred.
Absolutely.
Okay. Does that make sense? You know
That's
what he means?
fine. Yep.
And the side that you're looking to put the proposed deck, you're coming out another 2 feet than currently you are now, because it goes out 8 feet and you want to go out 10?
Yes.
Okay. And is that a parking area over there?
I do park there, but there should still be enough room for me to park there.
So you're showing on the, well, you don't
I
show
think
on
I
the
do
plan.
have a picture of that where my car goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I'm also not opposed to parking in the, like,
no, I mean,
community
as
lot
long
if I
as
have
you're
to.
not going to be obstructing the roadway, right?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
you're going to be on the grass, not on the gravel, per
Right,
se?
yes, yes.
Okay, and if you're parking in the back of the house, oh, there's no back?
Nope.
Oh, there is a back, but you're not parking in the back. So you're on the
yeah.
corner?
I'm on the corner.
Okay.
And
you-
the back is where the neighbor parks, so I wouldn't be in her way either.
Okay.
And also, I could also park on the front corner part if I had to.
And we're not concerned about access for fire vehicles because she's on the corner? And she's not getting any closer to the one on the right, per se?
I mean, the ordinance only really restricts, adjacent cottages encroaching close between the cottages. If
And
it's
we're not.
That's not, it's in line, it appears to be in line with the current house. The dimension between the road and the addition looks to be about 8 or 9 feet, I don't know.
Between the road and the addition, it's, because the road is kind of crooked, it's 7 feet on one side and then 10 feet on the other. Yeah.
I don't see any issue, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do you want to add anything else?
Oh, the one other thing is that I am proposing to move the deck back a little bit. You'll see in the other picture, there's 8 feet, is that 8 feet? Yeah, 8 feet where there's no part of the house, so I was just proposing to kind of keep that adjacent to my house.
flatten it out?
Yeah,
Yeah, just so it's even with the house, but
Exactly.
no farther than the house.
correct.
Currently is.
Correct.
Okay. Board members, any questions for the applicant? Yeah. Yep, go ahead, please.
I was out at the site this morning. I did see ample room for what is being proposed. It is a corner, so there's no obstructions, and I think that there is no reason that there isn't ample room to park your car if need be when these proposed are done. So
Thank you.
there's no obstructions that I saw. And I didn't measure it out, but I eyeballed it, but it looked like there was ample room to do what is being proposed.
Thank you.
Any other questions for board members? I'm sorry, good thing the mic wasn't on. Any other questions for board members? No? Do you want anything else?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone out there want to speak on behalf of this? No? Okay, you can sit down. Good. So anyone have any thoughts on this? Want to make a motion?
Seems like we've approved many of these types of alterations before. There's nothing that I would vote against, so I will make a motion, if that's okay.
Please, Mr.
This is a special use permit, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. At the meeting held today, the petitioner appeared before us, Elizabeth Bertrell. Nobody else spoke on behalf of or in opposition to the petition. Petition seems to be fairly straightforward. All she wants to do is add a deck and cover that deck, and because of the position of the cottage, there's no problems with parking or obstruction with adjacent buildings. So the board finds that the special use permit is specifically authorized by this ordinance because it meets all the requirements associated with the petition. The board finds that the special use meets all the criteria set forth in the subsection of this ordinance authorizing such special use. It's a special use permit, mainly because this is a very large property owned by somebody else. It's over 50 acres, and it's required to have a special use as a result of that. The board finds that the granting of the special use permit will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the ordinance or the comprehensive plan of the town. It fits nicely in with all the other cottages that are there, and fits in with all of the other requirements associated with the petition. There's ingress and egress, there's ample parking, it sits on a corner, there is trash storage and delivery areas, utilities, etc. So I move approval of this petition.
Thank you, Mr. Rosen. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Elia. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Rosen?
Aye.
Mr. Elia?
Aye.
Ms. Hicks?
Aye.
Mr. DuPont? Aye. Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Motion passes. Good luck. You're welcome. All right. Second, we have the petition of Timothy Mallon of 30 Bluebird Lane, Cranston, Rhode Island, 02921, for a special use permit under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to replace an 8x16 deck with a 12x16 cover deck attached to the existing seasonal cottage. The lot size is 50.2 acres. A special use permit is required per the zoning ordinance section 203, which is our special use permit for addition, enlargement, expansion, or intensification in section 608, Coastal Community Overlay District, and section 907 are standards of relief. Owner of the cottage, 16E15, is Joan Mallon, on property owned by Matunuck Beach Properties, Inc., located at 240 Cards Pond Road, South Kingstown, Assessors Map 921, Lot 9-268, and is zoned R200. For this petition, we have the application signed and dated May 10th of this year, owner authorization form signed and notarized May 6th, current site and maps, proposed site maps, South Kingstown Assessors field card, construction elevations, photos showing existing conditions, and photos of neighboring cottages, 200-foot radius map, legal notice, and notarized affidavit of mailing. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Good, how are you? So please state and spell your name, please.
Timothy Mallon, TimothyMallin.
And you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Right in? Yes.
Yeah, sure. Excellent. So tell us what you'd like to do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
it's fine. Tell us what you want to do with the cottage.
Yeah, we had an existing 8x16 deck that fell under disrepair, so we want to replace it with a 12x16, adding 4 feet, and we'd like to enclose that with a cover.
So, you might have heard this before. So we're concerned whenever a porch is going up, that porch, the railings aren't closed, and I do see this rendering has them closed. Is it something you're, because it creates more of a room than it does a porch.
Right. I see.
So it's a matter of, I think, as it's rendered, you would not prefer, or it's not prefer, but it's an intensification that's beyond.
I think it would be up to the board, but I believe from an enforcement standpoint, we run into what was approved as a deck or a porch, and then there's screens, and then next season there's windows, and nobody knows how they got there.
Right.
So that's why trying to assist my office is to have some safeguards, as you know, not with this specific petition, but just to help eliminate that risk in the future.
So the preference is open railings, spindles, screens behind.
If guards are even required, often there's 2 stairs to grade, but in this case it looks like it's at least 4 or 5 steps, so we'd certainly want a guardrail. But that could be a cable system, balusters, but as the rendering is drawn, preferably not.
Okay. So the columns are fine, just the railings or the closed railing in between is not preferred.
Yeah, knee walls, although not specifically prohibited in the ordinance, I would not recommend.
Okay. Certainly we can talk about it as a board, but would you be opposed to altering the design to sort
No,
of?
we would
Okay.
alter the design.
You'd be okay
for
with that?
Railings instead of, the idea was that it would be the same clapboard or tongue and groove as the rest of the house.
Yeah.
But if that's not.
I know, there's a
acceptable-
lot of houses around here that kind of have that, but
Yeah.
I think closing it in around there is tempting.
Yeah.
And I think trying to control the growth of those cottages is really important for safety and otherwise. So if you're okay with that, we certainly don't need a new rendering. It would just be a matter of us in our decision mentioning that it would be altered to an open railing style. You can have the posts and so forth, and that's okay.
Yep.
And you said you're going out, was it 2 more feet or 4 more feet?
4 more feet, yeah.
And in that direction, is there anybody you're going towards or anything you're kind of closing
Yeah,
off
there's-
more than 15 feet?
The property has quite a bit of area there left in 1954 from the hurricane, so it just, everybody settled there, and I think I have, from the original deck, there was 24 feet to the south side house, and there's 50, it's an angle road, so there's 58 feet in one direction, and it looks like 40 feet in the other direction, so it is, we generally park our vehicles over there, so.
In the sort of in that southeast corner?
Yeah.
Yep. So there's plenty of room.
Plenty of room, I think.
Okay. Board members, questions for the applicant? Mr. Rosen?
It says that Joan Mallon is the owner.
That's correct.
I assume your relationship is to her.
She's my wife.
She's your wife, okay.
I like to say it's her family beach house, but anytime there's work needed done, it's our beach house.
Okay. How long has that cottage been there?
The original permit was 1950,
Oh,
as with many of the
goes
houses.
back a long way, so
Long
there,
way, yeah.
and
Yeah.
the
Her grandfather
and the
built it.
deck has been there since the beginning?
No, I don't think so. And that's before my time. But I believe there was a landing and then stairs originally, and then there was an 8-foot, the 8-foot by 16-foot deck that was put on. And I don't have the date for you, but I know I was present for that and banged some nails for it. So it's 35 years for that.
Okay. And there's enough room between the cottages that are to either side
Yes.
for
Yeah, 'cause we're
fire
not-
engines or anything like that?
Correct. We're not changing anything. We're going out south, to the south 4 feet. We're keeping the 16-foot original, which is inside the dimensions of the house itself as well.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mr.
Any other questions, board members?
Yeah,
Ms.
I
Hicks?
have one quick question. Looking at the drawing, your new proposed deck is going to be 12 feet wide by 16 feet long. Then you have a double-ended arrow, 20 feet. What's 20 feet away? Is that the next
I tried to
home?
indicate with the new dimension, the feet to the back of the house to the south.
Okay, so 20 feet away is the
20
next-door neighbor.
Yeah, approximately, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Elliott?
Yes, I was out at that property as well, both this morning, and this property actually has quite a bit of land around it. I mean, considerably more than most in that area. So I don't think that there's an issue encroaching on anyone else. My question is, the rendering shows like that there is a slight pitch to the roof. Is that accurate?
Yes, in
Okay.
in our design,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, board members? No? Want to add anything? No? Okay, cool. Anyone out there want to speak on behalf of this petition? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, everybody, any thoughts on this one? Seems pretty straightforward. As Mr. Ely mentioned, there's plenty of room around the property, and they're not encroaching in a way that's going to cause any trouble. So, someone care to make a motion?
I guess I'll do it again.
Just say ditto?
Ditto. Can I do ditto?
I don't think that's a legal term.
I'll ask the council. Okay. At the meeting held tonight, the petition of Timothy Mallon was presented, and he also represented the owner of the property, Joan Mallon. This is a special use permit, again, very similar to the previous property. It's a cottage in generally the same area, and there shouldn't be any problems associated with this. thoroughly discuss. As a result, there was no opposition or support for this petition from the audience. So I will say the board finds that special use is specifically authorized by this ordinance, as stated by the chairman in the presentation. The board finds that the special use meets all of the criteria set forth in subsection of this ordinance authorizing special use. It's simply a cottage. It's been there for a number of years. The deck is essentially going away in its bad shape. They just want to replace the deck. They're expanding it by 4 feet to the south and adding in a roof, and they're enclosing it, and there are certain requirements that are going to have to be placed on this, which the petitioner agreed to carry out, so there shouldn't be any problem associated with this. The board finds that the granting of the special use permit will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of this ordinance or the comprehensive plan of the town. And it meets all of the requirements. There's plenty of room for parking, ingress and egress. There's trash storage, etc., as I previously mentioned in the previous petition. And as a result, I will move approval.
Motion is made. Can I get a second?
Second?
Second by Ms. Hicks. The only thing is, I think we would just want to define the railings a little bit.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Oh. So the rendering of the proposed was for a closed railing in between the posts, and the intent is to instead make an open railing system. So it isn't a knee wall, but any means that's appropriate to create a barrier, a railing. So that was the change. So, Mr. Rosen, you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Okay, and Ms. Hicks as well? Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Rosen?
Aye.
Ms. Hicks?
Aye.
Mr. Elia?
Aye.
Mr. DuPont?
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta? Aye.
Our applicant has a question.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't want
It's okay.
I just some guidance as to how high that railing would have to be.
By code, there's certain parameters that you have to kind of fit in between. What is it, 42, something like that? I forget what it is.
It depends how the dimension from the deck surface to grade.
Do you know?
It's 38, roughly. There's a differential, but it's roughly 38 inches
38,
from the ground level
so you need a 36-inch tall guard,
or more.
at least 36.
That's
Yep.
good.
And then it's you can find it online. It's
Okay.
very common, but 4-inch spacing and all that. There's some how high off the deck and so forth. But you can also, you said you can use the cables as well, right?
Cable, glass, we see a lot of different options.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But nothing that'll walk, that you can stick a window on top of. But there's lots and lots of choices. So, and if you did have any questions before you were to build, I'm sure you can contact the Mr. Gorman's office and ask. So
Thank you very much.
they're real helpful. No problem. All right. We'll do the vote again. All in favor, Mr. Rosen,
Aye.
Ms. Hicks,
Aye.
Mr. Elia,
Aye.
Mr. DuPont, Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Motion passes. Good luck. You're welcome. Next is petition of Charles Bose, of 728 Moonstone Beach Road, Wakefield, Rhode Island, 02879, for a dimensional variance under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to construct a 24 by 24 detached residential garage located 24 feet from the front property line. The required front yard setback is 50 feet, therefore 26 feet of relief is requested. Lot size is 1.97 acres. Dimensional variance is required per the zoning ordinance, section 401, Schedule of Dimensional Regulations, section 503.1, accessory structures, and section 907 are standards of relief. Owner of the property is Charles F. Bose for premises located at 728 Moonstone Beach Road, South Kingstown, Assessors Map 85-2, Lot 9, and is zoned R80. And for this petition, we have the application signed and dated May 16th of this year. Owner authorization form signed and notarized May 16th. Site plan, construction drawings, survey prepared, survey prepared by Michael A. Fontaine, PLS, stamped and dated June 14th of 2022. 200-foot radius map, legal notice, and notarized affidavit of mailing. There's a correspondence from the Friends of Water Street received. Oh. It's okay. And that's it. So, and you are. Good evening.
Charles Bouse,
Spell your last name, please.
B-O-W-S-E.
And you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Excellent. So please go ahead and tell us what you'd like to do.
So what we're looking to do is move my mother in with us, is the start of this. And we need first floor living space. And so what we're hoping to do, because we do need the garage, is to possibly build this and convert the existing garage into space for her. And we were also thinking of, possibly putting like a detached structure for her on the property, but she really needs to be inside of our main house. It wouldn't work out for her to be in a detached structure.
So this is on the street side of the building, obviously,
Yes,
that you're looking to
yes.
do this. And why that particular location?
I'm sorry?
Why that particular location on the property?
There's not too many good choices to go with. I was looking at the existing garage and attaching to the end of it, but it comes toward, it's just too close to the proximity of the wetlands towards the back. The other side, I believe I was hitting the setback on the other side of the house.
Oh, I see the two. So where is the garage right now?
So if you see we're showing the gravel driveway. It's right at the end of that structure of the rectangle.
Oh, so it's part of the house?
It is part of the
Oh, I
house,
see.
yeah.
It's that jog in the house is
Yes.
the garage.
Yeah.
So,
There-
okay.
Yeah,
So, hang on. So what you're looking to do is to make your garage into the living space and build a garage for a garage?
yes, remove those doors. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. That makes sense. Okay, so that makes sense to build a garage there then. So you don't need any systems in this garage, right? You're not looking to put a bathroom or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
And 2 floors, right?
It would really
Ish.
be one floor, probably storage up top.
So certainly it's only 18 feet.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry, I misunderstood to start.
No.
all
But
right.
yeah, looking at the lot, it's a decent amount of land, but there's just not too many options of where to put it.
Yeah, and I mean, for this, you're gonna, now, how old is the house right now? That's
4
there.
years.
4 years?
Yeah,
So that's why you have a rain garden.
yes, right.
If it was
I-
10
I-
years
I have
old, you wouldn't have it.
I have 2 of them, yeah.
So you'll have to move that just to accommodate it?
Yeah, we were proposing to move that back alongside the existing end of the side of the garage.
And
Is,
would that have to be sort of like a major, like, redesign on it? I mean, that obviously, that's part of this. Is that something that's submitted to you as part of the building package, the rain garden, or not necessarily? We don't have to concern ourselves with that.
Yeah, the engineering department would review that, but they may need an assent from CRMC just based on proximity to the wetlands.
Okay.
Or rather, Mr. Bowes may
Okay.
need their approval.
Thank you, Mr. Gorman. And you don't have to move the underground propane tank, that's fine, that'll stay where it
Right,
is.
that can stay, yeah.
And the house, is it already a 3-bedroom?
Yes, it is.
And so it's going to, does that mean it's going to a 4?
No,
No.
we would be there's 3 bedrooms upstairs, and we would be, removing one of them.
Okay, so it's
Basically.
staying a 3-bedroom technically, or no?
Well, we'd be removing one on the 3rd floor, and then, yes, this would, become the 3rd.
So I guess my only thought is the OWTS system, you don't have to upgrade that or change that at all.
Right, no.
Okay. And it's not changing any systems, no new water lines or anything, so, okay. Okay. Board members, any questions?
Yes,
Mr. Elias.
I was out at the property today. There is really no other choice to put this where he is. There's wetlands, there's the propane tank, and then there's an open space. So the only thing that he would be losing tragically is his son's lacrosse field, so.
Right.
Well, when he grows up, he can have his own lacrosse field.
You're right.
Okay, any other questions, board members? No? Did you want to add anything else, or is that
I
about
don't
it?
think so, no.
Okay. You guys care about this? All right. Thank you, Ms. Bowes. Any other discussion? Anybody have any concerns? It seems real straightforward. This is the type of thing we certainly want to encourage in the town, is sort of making additional options for people, but this sounds ideal, so. Mr. Rose?
Just one clarification. I'm looking at the site plan, trying to determine how far the wetlands are away from the main house.
I think the, in that back left corner there, like the back left corner of the existing garage, is that where you're,
Yeah, that's 55. It says 55.6 on the,
I can't really read
for the
it.
corner of the garage. But the house, it doesn't have.
But you can't, I'm just wondering, the garage can't go behind the main house, is that correct? Because of the
Right.
wetlands?
Right, yeah. The wetland buffer is really right there off the back where, I think where you can see the squares. I have 4x4 posts kind of.
So,
Right
Mr.
through the-
Gorman, they still have to have DEM approval with respect to the wetlands here?
Because this
Even
is,
though the garage is in front of the house and well away from the wetlands?
typically, they still want to review if it's within 100 feet.
And it is within 100 feet.
Certainly, and just to, typically what CRMC will ask of an applicant who's proposing to build is, say he wanted to locate it behind or in line with the house, they would request typically the applicant to go to the zoning board to push it further away from the wetlands first, because they want all improvements pretty much as far away as possible. So oftentimes you'll see, petitions before the board for, applications that'll be before CRMC, but likely they're going to weigh in on the review and may require a rain garden or additional plantings. It's not unusual.
Yeah, well, the reason I'm asking this is because when I was out there, I didn't see any other garages that were up in front of the house like this and near the road. Most of the houses and the garages were set well back on their property. And this one, it just seems as if it would stand out, but I see your problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wonder if the
Ideally, I would've-
wetlands are that close to your house.
Yeah, can you see the yellow flowered? Yeah, the wetlands are really,
They're very close.
Right there, yep.
And there is a mill pond brook back there as well.
right.
But as I remember, the property next door was set pretty far back and to the right.
Ideally, I was hoping to do it right at the end of the existing house, but it's right up against the wetlands. That's why I was just proposing it here. I didn't really have another option.
Yeah. Well, okay. That was my concern.
Any other comments or questions by the board? No? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion, any thoughts as to?
Anybody out there?
I asked them, but I can ask, you guys still okay with this? You don't want to ask any questions? Okay.
There's nobody else?
Nope, nobody, nope.
Okay.
Looks like the Chases are on their own after this. So, if no one has any other thoughts, someone want to give it a shot as a motion? You want me to? Are you getting tired of it?
Am I getting tired? I'm looking to get out of here.
All right, well then make the motion. We can stop talking about it and just get it done.
Okay, I'll make the motion. Mr. Charles Bowes, is that correct? Yes. Appeared before us at this meeting regarding a dimensional variance with respect to building a garage. How many feet from the property line? 26 with 26 feet of relief. Yeah. And as a result of some discussion by the board, there was no other comments made from the audience or opposition to this proposal. So I guess I'll move approval of the petition. The board finds that the hardship from which the applicant seeks relief is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land or structure and not to the general characteristics of the surrounding area, and is not due to the physical or economic disability of the applicant, excepting those physical disabilities addressed in 452430, paren 16. The problem that the owner has with this property is that he has to put the garage, first of all, he wants to build a garage. He already has a garage in the house. He wants to use that space for his mother, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And so he has to move the garage outside of the house. The garage is presently underneath the main portion of the house and on the left side. And so the garage has to go someplace, and this would appear to be about the only place where it can go, because there are wetlands restrictions, there's also a rain garden, etc., that makes it difficult to place the garage behind the house, which would, even though there's a good amount of area that it could go in behind the house, but the wetlands again impinge upon that as such. The board finds that the hardship is not the result of any prior action of the applicant. As a matter of fact, this is a fairly new house, 4 years old, I believe, and they're just trying to make accommodation for his mother. The board finds that granting of the requested variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the zoning ordinance or the comprehensive plan upon which the ordinance is based. It will meet all the requirements. It's going to have to meet the requirements of the CRMC and the DEM with respect to how far it is away from the wetlands and all that type of stuff. So there's going to have to be some further work that you're going to have to do to get approval to go ahead with the construction of this garage. The board finds that the hardship suffered by the owner of the subject property, if the dimensional variance is not granted, amounts to more than a mere inconvenience, meaning that relief sought is minimal to a reasonable enjoyment of the permitted use to which the property is proposed to be devoted. And as a result, I would move approval of this petition.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Should
Yes.
the 2-year expiration due the proximity to the wetlands need CRMC approval?
Okay?
So you want to add that to the motion, that we'll have a 2-year extension? You said?
Going to need a 2-year extension.
2-year expiration, okay.
Okay.
2-year expiration to the motion, or to the, okay. Motion is made by Mr. Rosen. Can I get a second? Second. Second by Mr. Ilya. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Rosen?
Aye.
Mr. Ilya? Aye. Ms. Hicks?
Aye.
Mr. Dupont? Mr. Cagnetta? Aye. Motion passes. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay. Lastly, we have the petition of Christine Chase of 992 Matunic Beach Road, Wakefield, Rhode Island, 02879 for a dimensional variance and a special use permit under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to construct a 10-foot by 38-foot attached deck located 12 feet from the corner side property line, which is Water Street. The required corner side setback is 25 feet, therefore a relief of 13 feet is requested. The deck is deemed an addition to a non-conforming use due to being 2 separate dwellings on premises. Lot size is .48 acres. Dimensional variance is required per the zoning ordinance section 401. Schedule of dimensional regulations. A special use permit is required per section 203. Special use permit for addition, enlargement, expansion, or intensification, and section 907 are standards of relief. The owner of the property is Christine A. Chase for premises located at 992 Matunic Beach Road, South Kingstown, Assessors Map 93-2, lots 36-2, and is zoned R20. For this petition, we have the application signed and dated May 14th, 2024. Owner authorization form signed and notarized May 16th, 2024. Construction elevations, preliminary survey prepared by Michael A. Fontaine, PLS, and dated May 13th, 2024. 200-foot radius map, legal notice, and notarized affidavit of mailing. Good evening.
Good evening.
Could you please state and spell your name for us?
Sure. Christine Chase, C-H-A-S-E.
And you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. I just have one quick question for our council, if that's all right. Being that this is a combined variance and special use, does that mean that we should read through the approval requirements of both? Or is there a way we can sort of make some combination of that?
When you go to make your motion, you can hit the dimensional standards first,
Okay.
and assuming that those are met,
Yep.
then move on to the special use permit standards.
Okay.
You can make it in one motion.
Make it in one motion, but make sure we're mentioning all the things for both.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. So your burden is twofold. That you're looking for dimensional as well as for a special use because you have more than one building on the property.
That's correct.
Okay.
We're looking for, as you can see before you, a 38 by 10-foot deck to be built in the back of the house. It is a non-conforming lot. It was built by my grandparents in the 1940s with 2 cottages, one in front of the other. So we're looking for a special use permit for that. And the dimensional relief we're looking for is from the corner of the house and the deck to Water Street, the gravel road next to us. There's a 13-foot relief that we're looking for. There's only 12 feet.
And that is
Distance now.
it's a listed road, not a paper, like it's not a private road. It's actually a town road.
That's incorrect.
Oh,
That's incorrect. It's a private road
Okay.
that's been used as a right-of-way to Potter Pond, which is right behind us, for several years. It is now being contested by some of the public who want to
for right of way.
use it as a public boat ramp.
Right. Okay. So,
Just a second.
so this is not,
Who's the owner of that road?
The owners of the road are the folks that have their only egress and access to their house from that road. It was originally, it goes back, there's lots of history with it in terms of documentation. It was one lot that was owned by, I honestly think it was one of the carpenters, and then the lots were sold off. We actually own 2 lots. We own the lot to the right of that property as well, but there's 3 houses on the other side of the road that their only means of getting to and from the house is through that road. We have a makeshift parking area to the side of our house that's actually, it was done temporarily, and we're looking to, we actually have a condo declaration, and we're looking to have our access and egress from our house alone from Matunic Beach Road.
Okay, thank you.
So how is this a side yard, or this is a corner setback? It's listed as, right?
The relief,
Yeah, the relief.
because being a private right-of-way, Matunic Beach Road would be considered the front.
Yep.
Corner side, Water Street,
So Water Street is considered,
it's a right-of-way.
it's a right-of-way.
It's a private right-of-way,
Right, so even though it's a private, it still counts as okay,
correct?
okay. That was the only thing I was curious about. All right, so this one you want to put the addition on, you're putting it pretty much the width of the house and towards the pond, is basically what you're looking to do. So no wider than the house, and the house is built within that setback, is
I'm
the
not
issue.
sure I understand the question.
So your house right now is encroaching on the setback, right? So you'd have to ask for a variance if you were to build that
Correct.
house right now.
That's correct.
So that's why building the deck exactly the width of the house, but towards the pond, that's why you kind of need it.
Correct.
Right. So, okay. So I won't say that there's, you could do it without relief, but then it would be awkward, perhaps. Because then it would be only 2/3 across the house and you wouldn't need relief per se, but
Correct.
you're asking to go all the way. Okay. Yeah, board members, questions of the applicant?
I guess I have a question, not for the applicant. Does the town concur that that Water Street is a private way?
The town does, yes.
But then I heard it's a right-of-way to the pond, is that correct? I mean, can anybody use it as a right-of-way?
I know there was discussion, this was before the town council hearings, probably within the last 2 or 3 years. I know it's a designated private right-of-way, access to the pond. I believe there's access, whether or not it's, yeah, I don't want to get into the weeds on this one.
Don't get him in trouble.
No, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. It's just, in having read that letter that the people sent in, I just thought before I voted on anything, I wanted this situation clarified in my mind. Just to,
So I think what probably this Water Street is, and I haven't looked at the land evidence record, so I can't say with certainty, but this is probably a plat that was recorded long before there was planning board approvals. And at the time, when you recorded a plat with roads depicted on it, that would create a private right-of-way for any property owner in the plat to use, subject to the council accepting it as a public street. So probably what happened is that was recorded, the council never took any action to accept it as a public street. So now it's just a street that can be used by any property owner in that plat.
It can be used for anyone on that has ownership on that street?
On the street or even beyond that, depending what the size of the plat is. The plat could go beyond Water Street and, and I'm speculating here, so I don't want to say this is definitive, but if the plat went all the way down to Prospect Road, and even if you lived on the other side of Prospect Road, if you were in that plat, you could use Water Street.
So there's when I went out there and looked at it, there's a blue concrete post at the end of the road. Is that on, whose property is that on? Do you know? And what was the purpose of that?
I can't tell you. I know that's right next to our property. I owned the property for some years with my brother, and I think he may have put that in. It's not used for anything. There was some discussion about trying to cordon off our property from the road, in particular because there's a lot of traffic because it's being used as a boat ramp. And I could get into the weeds with you, but I prefer not to because I don't think it's the right place.
I just found it odd that in the middle of, there looked like there's some reeds and there's a blue concrete post. It's just oddly placed. It looks like it's out of place. I didn't know what the purpose was.
There's really no purpose. There's actually two posts. There's one on the other side as well that somebody put up. I don't know.
Yeah, Mr. Pop.
I'm a little confused by this whole thing, to be quite honest with you. I
Okay.
went down there and I looked at it, and my understanding of a right-of-way, and I concur with the legal counsel that if there's a right-of-way and access to that water, it should be, in most cases, it's access to anyone either through the plat or even the general public. And there's many areas in this state that there are right-of-ways people don't even know about. When I went down to look at it, it appears to me that the bushes and the vehicles parked on that right-of-way, I don't know if they're yours or not, but they are encroaching, in my opinion, on that right-of-way. And on the survey, it clearly shows that that right-of-way, quote-unquote, is straight all the way to the water. Because of the bushes never having been cut, you got to kind of go around them, and then you're parked behind the bushes, so you got to go around your cars. And to do that, when I looked at the survey, I believe I was driving on someone else's property to get around them, at least a portion of their property. So I'm not sure who enforces that, what department, if it's a police parking situation, or it's another department that would try to clarify that.
It's not, well, that's not really part of this.
I understand.
Yeah, so
but
I
I'm
think-
just making that point because it was brought
Sure,
up by
sure.
several members
Yep.
on that.
I mean, it's not really, like, I think if there are egress issues and things, that's something to be considered. But well, I might have just stopped myself by,
So I think if it's a question of emergency vehicle access, then the police department and EMS could say, look, we can't reach the back house, you need to move this or that to make sure we have access.
Right.
If it's beyond that and just a question of what's the appropriate use of the right-of-way, where should you park, where should the bushes be, because it's private, it's a private matter between those that have an interest. They could come to an agreement where, there's some type of parking arrangement, and if not, it's just something they'd have to work out among themselves.
and I think for this, what we're looking for is the improvement on the house causing an impairment for any egress, or is it preventing them from parking on the property? Or do they have to park off the property because now they've restricted it or something like that, right?
Yeah, you could consider those type of things. Mostly, I'd say primarily if you think it would cause any type of access problem for emergency services, but.
The building of the deck. I mean, as to
Right.
where they normally park, it's not really
Right,
of,
just the building of the deck, because that's
Right.
the only thing that's changing, it's the only thing that needs relief. If that doesn't have an impact in your assessment, then the right-of-way is really a separate private matter.
right, okay.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, of course,
Okay,
of course.
So I guess
Ms. Hicks.
in lieu of the fact that we have some discussion about this road, which now we know is a private road, is the town in agreement with the applicant that in fact the relief she's looking for is 13 feet? I mean, depending on what you consider the road, you know, the amount of relief could vary. So are we all in agreement that what they need is 13 feet?
So they do have a survey prepared by, is this Michael Fontaine?
Yes.
And the existing house without the deck is located 12 feet. And the deck, correct me if I'm wrong, is in line with the existing house?
I'm sorry?
The proposed deck is in line with the existing house?
Correct.
So the surveyor identified it as 12 feet from the property line, so the relief would be, with 25 feet being the corner side setback, the relief requested. Yep.
So there's no question about that?
I don't believe so.
Let me ask another question, though. If they had chosen to make that deck 25 feet, they wouldn't have to come here, right?
They would still be here for the special use permit, but not the dimensional
Oh,
variance.
that's because there's dimensional and special use. Yes, okay.
I guess the one wrinkle to that is that as of 2 days ago, there was a provision signed into law that if you have a lot that's at least 20,000 square feet, which this is, you're entitled to have an accessory dwelling unit so long as it doesn't exceed certain, a bedroom count in square footage, which this doesn't. So it may be that this dwelling unit could have been legalized by that new law as an allowed accessory dwelling unit. But we don't necessarily have to get into all that.
Okay.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, Mr. Rosen, go for it. That's why we're here.
The house that we're talking about is listed as 992, correct? Matunic Beach Road.
That's correct.
And the mailbox for that is on Matunic Beach Road.
That's correct.
And there's a driveway that goes to the back of the property from Matunic Beach Road, right?
No.
That's not a driveway?
There's a driveway for the front house.
That's for the front house.
Correct. But we do have,
But you own that house, right?
no, I did.
Oh, you don't?
With my brother, but we sold it.
Ah.
So we have yeah.
And who lives there?
We have a condo declaration for a land condominium. So there's two separate owners for the front house and the back house now.
Okay. What we're talking about is on property which is considered to have two houses, correct? And that's why we're here. Do we need permission from the owner of the front house?
You have that, sir, in the file.
We do? I didn't see it.
It'll be in the form of the owner authorization form.
Okay.
There's two, both of them are by Christine. That was
Right.
I'm going to try and scroll to it here on the screen, if you bear with me.
Oh, they're both signed by you, owner author?
No, we're both named Christine. She's Christine Gallant, and I'm Christine Chase.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So only one more. So
We're in the weeds.
yeah,
here.
no. What's interesting is they're saying their parking space for this property is on the private road. Does that matter? Like this, like, do they need their own parking on their own property?
So I would say, technically, if the parking is on the private road, I wouldn't count that as off-street parking. But because this is a pre-existing non-conforming lot, where that non-conformity isn't changing, they don't need relief from that. But if they were building today, yes, it would
They
need to
would.
be on their property and not on the road.
And as far as the road going on and off of property, that's of no concern, like on the, I can't read who made this, Fontaine. On
Right.
the Fontaine plan, like, even though it squiggles, it's of no consequence, because that lands, that designated space of that right-of-way is in between those two lots. And even if the road squiggles, that's,
Right.
doesn't
right.
matter.
From the town's perspective, we just consider the property line.
So we don't have to worry about taking a spot away by building this deck.
No, because as of now, it's non-conforming in that it doesn't have a spot there.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. It's really a challenging spot.
It's very unique. It's, you know, it was built in the 40s. The property was bought when there were horse and buggies going up and down the roads, including my great-grandfather, and, you know, it's evolved. Well, the area around us has evolved, let me say that.
For sure, yes. No, it really has changed. And so this is just a typical deck, no covered roof or anything like that, just an open deck.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? No?
It's just concerns.
Okay. Anything you want to talk about yet, or no, not yet?
Well,
We can do it during discussion.
okay, let's do it.
Do you have anything else to add, Ms. Chase?
I don't.
Okay. Do you want to speak on this behalf of this petition? Nope. Okay. You can sit down if you want. Okay. Some thoughts? Mr. Rosen, do you want to kind of start with yours?
Well, we did receive a letter from abutting neighbors,
We did.
and it mainly was involved with parking,
Mm-hmm.
which we thoroughly discussed. Should we read that letter into the record?
If it was part of the application, does it need to be read in, per se? I mean, wasn't received after the fact, but,
You don't have to read it into the record. You know,
Okay.
it will be part of the certified record of the application. If you want to refer to it, if there's a part that's relevant, you can, or if you know, it's up to you.
Well, history tells me that parking is really a problem in that part of town, mainly because of ocean mist. And whenever I've been down there along Matunic Beach Road, you have to wind your way through, and then you get to Water Street, and the road is not very good. With respect to this petition, however, since parking is not part of this petition, there's really no discussion. But my concerns were associated with what the neighbors had brought up, and now I understand that they're essentially on the same plat as such, since I believe that they were the people who wrote that letter were in the three houses maybe across from on Water Street, and we can't deal with that, so we're just going to have to go. I guess I'm just going to have to go ahead with the approval, in my mind. Okay?
yeah.
Those are my concerns. It has to do with that letter that came in and the neighbors.
Sure.
Okay?
Thank you. Anyone else? No?
You know, I appreciate the neighbors' concerns. I think that they should rightfully be addressed, but as far as this request goes, I think we have to treat this separate and distinct. I don't think we can get involved in something that doesn't impact anything other than what the applicant is asking for.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, normally I do read them in, but this really didn't go to the application itself. No, that sort of made the sort of lose a little bit of impact by that letter. But no, I understand. That access to water is a very passionate thing. But this seems pretty straightforward, that they're asking for an expansion of the one property, the one building on the property, which does make it a unique situation that we need both a special use and a dimensional. But these buildings are definitely predating the development of our zoning expectations. So it doesn't seem like that it was by the fault of the applicant, by the location of the building. So yeah, I tend to agree that it doesn't seem to have a great impact, either aesthetically or egress or any of the concerns I think that either the special use or the dimensional would have. So, okay, any other discussion? Does anyone want to make a motion or?
Mr. Cagnetta,
Yes.
also, I believe this one would have a 2-year expiration, because I believe an assent would be needed.
Okay. Two-year expiration of the approval. Do we need to say for both the special use and dimensional?
For both, huh? Okay.
Someone want to give it a shot? You want to? Yep. Go ahead, Celia.
Can we put I don't know how you want to phrase it, but can we put a stipulation in that during construction, that access road be not blocked? Is that reasonable?
I'm not sure if we need to, I mean, you cannot, I mean, you cannot block, or can you? I mean, it's a private road.
You could block it, well, you couldn't block it if it's required for emergency access to the back house, which it appears that it is, since there's no other way to get to the back house.
Okay.
If there was alternative access, you could temporarily block it with agreement of the other people that have right of access. But considering it's the only way of ingress and egress to the house,
Right.
I'd agree that you can't block that because.
Right, just to stay clear for emergency access.
Right.
Okay.
Well, that's one of the things that I was getting at when I was talking about the mailbox and what I thought was a driveway, was it seemed like there was ingress to that property from Matunic Beach Road through that side road. Right. Miss Chase. Miss or Mrs.? Mrs. I don't mean to...
I think your neighbor would have to give you approval to have access through their driveway to your house during the construction period, if they would be willing to do that.
But she said she owns that property. Am I correct or incorrect?
That driveway for the front house was a drive that went down to give me access to my back house. I mean, quite frankly, I had a brother that made a lot of decisions that were difficult for me to get into conflicts with, and one of them was to close that driveway access off. We have since, we actually have a plan in the condo declaration for a road, just a dirt area for me to be able to go from Matunic Beach Road over to our house. So that gravel area driveway is really not going to stay there. And the reason it's not going to stay there is because we are aware it's in the road, And the other reason it's not going to stay there is because we have a lot of boats blocking the access to and from our house, from all the houses there. So that's a whole separate issue, but we have a resolution for ourselves.
Okay. I understand completely your problems with brothers.
Thank you.
Not that I have any brothers, but
Thank you.
Does it make sense?
it makes sense to me, yes. Does it make sense to you?
No, it does. It does. All right. Any other questions, board members? No? Okay. Do you want me to try it? Or do you want to try it?
No, I think I can handle this,
Go for it, man.
since I've done all
You're
the
on a
others.
roll. You're going to get an extra piece of candy tonight for.
Oh, boy. Thank you. Okay, Mrs. Christine Chase appeared before the board this evening to request a dimensional variance and a special use permit to build a, what do you want to call it, a deck or a porch or whatever, off the back of her house at 992 Matunic Beach Road, which actually is on the, considered to be Unit 2 on the property behind 990 Matunic Beach Road, which is a single property, a single plat as such. And there was lots of discussion about parking and all that type of stuff, but it really isn't relevant to the petition that Mrs. Chase presented before us. Actually, it's a rather simple petition. She wants to build a porch that is approximately 25 feet or so long and I don't know how wide, but 24 by 24 detached resident, no, that's the wrong place, 10 by 38 attached deck located 12 feet from the corner side property, which is Water Street, which is a private road right next to her property. And since this is, as I stated, a rather simple petition for the building of this deck, I'll move ahead and say the board finds that, I'll move the petition. First, the dimensional variance, if I can bring it here, and say that the board finds that the hardship from whence the applicant seeks relief, if I can read, is due to a unique characteristic of the subject land. It is certainly unique, or structure, and not the general characteristics of the surrounding area, and is not due to the physical or economic disability of the applicant. This is, as I said, as far as the dimensional variance is concerned, a rather simple motion to move forward on. The board finds that the hardship is not the result of any prior action of the applicant. This is a rather old property. It was broken up by previous owners. It is a single property which has two houses on it, which were, and the property itself apparently was split in half at one time, so that there was one house in the front and one in the back, with egress and ingress in different places on the property. There was no prior action of Mrs. Chase that I could determine, so I'll just leave that as that. The board finds that the granting of the requested variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the zoning ordinance or the comprehensive plan upon which the ordinance is based. The character of the land around there will remain essentially the same. This deck is not going to do anything to change the character of anything in that particular area. However, there are plans moving forward, as Mrs. Chase said, for some sort of a condo property and a cleaning up, hopefully, of Water Street, which would be nice for the area as such, but probably not as well received by some others. The board finds that the hardship suffered by the owner of the subject property, if the dimensional variance is not granted, amounts to more than a mere inconvenience, meaning that relief sought is minimal to a reasonable enjoyment of the permitted use to which the property is proposed. And she's just asking for a porch off the back side of her house so that she can enjoy it. I was out there, it looked like there was an area that one could have a picnic in. There was a tent structure over a barbecue area, and I assume that they want to clean that up and make it easier to get from the house to that area so they can enjoy their property. And thus I will move approval of the dimensional variance, with the exception that this has 2 years to be completed, essentially, with the construction. And I would add a further note that during construction, I would assume that the people who are constructing this will be aware of the parking problems that are around there, particularly during the summer. I think that's where most of the problems in this property are concerned with parking as such. You can qualify me or tell me I'm wrong.
In response to that, there is no public parking there at all, sir, along that road.
I know, there's no parking, there's a no parking sign there, but I'm
Yes.
concerned about Matunic Beach Road and the parking situation along that road, and construction, bringing construction materials, et cetera, is going to cause considerable concern, particularly if it happens during the summer.
We should make the motion and then open it up to discussion, but finish the motion first.
Okay, I move approval of the motion.
Yep, and then the special use.
Oh, we have to go to the special use?
Yep, both of them at the same.
We're doing both of them at the same
Yep.
time, I forgot, okay. And they have to be made by the same motion maker.
Well, it's all in the same motion, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But there could be some things that are duplicated.
Okay, I don't have to state all this stuff at the beginning,
Nope,
right?
nope.
Okay, the board finds that the special use is specifically authorized by this ordinance. The board finds that the special use meets all the criteria set forth in the subsection of this ordinance authorizing such special use, with respect only to the building of the porch behind the house at 992. And the board finds that the granting of the special use permit will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the ordinance or the comprehensive plan of the town. In so doing, the board has considered whether or not, and then this is where it gets sticky, whether or not satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been or will be made concerning but not limited to the following matters where applicable: ingress and egress to the lawn and to the existing or proposed structures thereon, with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control and access in case of fire, emergency, or catastrophe, will have to be maintained during the construction of this porch. Off-street parking and loading areas where required, with particular attention to the items in subsection A1 above and the noise, glare, and odor effects of special use permit on adjoining lots, will have to be considered with respect to this special use. trash storage delivery areas with a particular reference with items in 1 and 2 above, which I don't see on here as such, but they're in the ordinance. Utilities with respect to the locations, availability and compatibility, screening and buffering with reference to type, dimensions, and character, signs, if any, and exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic, safety, and compatibility, and harmony with lots in the zoning district. A lot of this is associated with the special use and needs to be considered as such, but with that statement and the fact that this will also be extended for two years, or need to be completed within 2 years, applies. And is there anything else I'm missing?
Nope.
Okay, I move approval of both the special use permit and the dimensional variance.
Okay, motion was made by Mr. Rosen. Can I get a second? Seconded by Mr. DuPont. Okay, so just to clarify, you were talking about making sure on the private road that access is maintained to the property adjacent for emergency vehicles during construction?
Mm-hmm.
Was the only, okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, so other than that, there were no other special conditions related to the approval?
Not with respect to the porch,
Not to the
no,
porch,
yes.
okay. So that's just a clarification, that's not necessarily an addendum to the motion. All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Rosen?
Aye.
Mr. DuPont? Aye. Ms. Hicks?
Aye.
Mr. Elio? Aye. And Mr. Cagnetta? Aye. Motion passes. Good luck. Thank you.
Sorry for all the confusion.
It's a confusing site. I appreciate your patience. Good luck, guys. No, you guys are fun. So just two more things. There were some changes to the state law relative to zoning and such. We were going to kind of go over that next month when everybody was here. So there was an email sent to everyone from their office describing sort of the changes that were made to it, and then they did a great job of sort of spelling it out for all of us, so thank you very much. I encourage you guys just to kind of read it. There will be some, this isn't as dramatic in my eyes as was last year, but there might be some minor tweaks that kind of what happens here, but definitely in terms of accessory dwellings, that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
And there is something in here that you might think that the town can get rid of the zoning board, which technically they can, but they won't. So, but just read it over, and then when you guys have questions next month, everyone will be here, and you can have a chance. And if you did have something pressing right now, we can ask it, but otherwise, just feel free to wait till next meeting. Is there anything you guys want to add to that? Simply, like, is there anything that's major that we should know before next meeting that you think that pops up to you? No. Okay.
And the next meeting is? July 17th. Okay.
And then we have, the only other thing is our minutes from May 15th, 2024. Anybody have any changes to the minutes? Instead of saying, did everybody read them?
Oh, I looked it over, but
You did? And you're okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Anything else? Next month? Is everyone planning on being here? Excellent. Okay.
Yes.
If nothing else, motion to adjourn? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You can stay. Have a good night.